Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I see that this morning we are describing ourselves in the worship, and so let me just say I am a blonde, blue-eyed white man, about 6'5", and I have on a gray suit with a pink shirt and some ugly shoes. I actually, for those of you who've never seen me before, I'm sure you already have. I'm an African-American male, and I'm 68 years old, to which I'm really proud to be. Really. Since I'm doing this project on colorism, I guess I ought to say I am medium light-skinned. Yeah. Reverend Stapleton, when we was in school, they used to call me Old Yeller. I used to hate that. That meant real light bright. And I'm really happy to be here. If you're wondering how long I'm gonna be, I'm just about through right now. I woke up with a preaching spirit this morning. I really, really wanted to see you. And so I'm grateful that you all are here. And so Gretchen, thank you so much for your work this morning. For Jamila, who is Director of Religious Education, I think does a wonderful job in this church. Don't ever be in such a hurry to do your little thing. You can't thank folks around you. Can I get a witness somewhere? To our tech people, thank you back there. Thank you all for your work. Every time I come, just about every time I come, I see Brother Steve Scott at the door. David, I wonder if he's there to protect me or to put me out if I get out of control up in here. But it's good to see him. And Violet, I have to tell you, sis, I think you do a wonderful job in this church. I've told you this privately, but it doesn't do any good if you're not willing to say it publicly. Oh, can I get a witness somewhere in here? And so, thank you so much. Thank you. You are a blessing to this congregation. My friend and my brother, I call him my son in the ministry, is with me today, the Reverend Melvin Stapleton. He is Pentecostal now. I said he's a Pentecostal. So if he hollers at me or starts to run around the room, don't anybody get excited. That's just the way we do, just the way you do. And then, of course, my faithful members from Dawson Jr. Ministry, Sister Bobette and Sister Cindy, they make sure that the pastor gets out of here all right. Amen. And so I thank you very much. Oh! So I am hurting. Somebody asked me, first of all, what is this thing called magnanimity, and why that for preaching today? First of all, those of you, because you're a well-read church, you know that magnanimity means greatness of spirit. Magnus means big, yeah. Animus from the Latin means spirit or soul. And so the magnanimous person is a person who has a big heart and a big mind. And why is that important? Why is that important? Because, ladies and gentlemen, every day we are surrounded by small-minded people, David, with too much power. You don't believe me? Watch this. So I'm going to get in trouble, but, you know, that's why I come over here, because Y'all get in trouble all the time. Gretchen, I keep telling people that in a time when we're trying to control women's bodies and tell women what to do with their bodies, if you are male and you have a penis, you ought to stay out of that conversation. Oh, I need some help. You see, here's the problem. The problem is that patriarchy thinks that we have to determine what women talk about and how they work it out. I don't know how y'all gonna work it out, but I think you should, because it's your body. That would be like trying to tell me what it means either to be in the NAACP or y'all ain't gonna help me here. Some things we ought to stay out of, brethren. But we have small-minded people who think that they can control what women's bodies are and what they should do. I'm used to that because they've done the same thing to me. They've looked at my black skin and decided where I should be and what I could participate in and what my intellectual level was and what kind of person I am. Isn't it interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that when, what's that boy's name? Graham. Lindsey Graham ran for senator out of North Carolina. Isn't it amazing? Every time his opposition, who was a black man, picture was shown from his camp, that brother got darker and dark. Oh, y'all ain't gonna help me. And darker because the ethos is that if white people see dark-skinned people, they will see them as vicious and incompetent. And so it seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that we need a virtue by the name of magnanimity, a bigness and a greatness of heart and mind. And there's some characteristics to this, and I'm not going to be very long. I'm going to get out of your way, but there's some characteristics to this virtue. Number one is, it seems to me that people who are magnanimous are people who refuse to be petty. Oh, I know I'm talking to church folk. Y'all ought to come on in here and talk to me. They're petty. That too many congregations are the haven for pettiness. And if you can't say amen, you ought to at least say ouch. Who gonna sing the lead in the choir? Who gonna usher? Who's going to be on the board? Oh, I know y'all never been through that, so you know. Pettiness. But it's worse now in that pettiness has empowered some people to think, if I disagree with you and I don't like you, that gives me the right to kill you. And so this week we watched a young man. We were talking about this outside. We need some mental illness stuff. Government, we need some money to help those who suffer from mental illness. As a parenthetical side. But that boy shot his grandmother. Y'all ain't praying. And then said, that's not enough. I'm gonna go to school and kill 19. But I was already brokenhearted, man, because I watched a kid drive 200 miles. Oh, y'all ain't gonna come on. And walk into a supermarket that was predominantly used by black people. Everybody wasn't in there black, but those who were, he had an automatic weapon ready to take them out. And notice what he says is just, he said that after he finished from the supermarket, he was willing to go to a black barber shop and kill some more. Well, what about in Orange County? Good Taiwanese Presbyterians, as a parenthetical aside, they should have been spanked because they were Presbyterians. Y'all ain't gonna help me. I went to Princeton, so I'm a recovering Presbyterian. Reverend, I knew that tulip stuff very well. Total depravity, unmerited grace, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, they were in there worshiping. And a Chinese person, Asian person, my daddy used to say, you might be my color, but that doesn't mean you're my kind. Can I get some help? Walked into the place, and the press were quick. The press were quick. I love the press. The press were quick to say, oh, it was a matter of political difference between China and Taiwan. Yeah, well, that's what white folks are easy to swallow. Y'all mad at me? Talk to me. You all know that there is a color difference between Chinese and Taiwanese. And colorism doesn't just affect black folk, it affects Asians, it affects Latins, it affects indigenous folk. I wish I could talk to somebody in the LGBTQAA plus community about colorism among gay folk. Boom! And shot. We need some people. We need a time in which, ladies and gentlemen, we become big in mind and spirit. We got to give up the pettiness. I was at my brother-in-law's little birthday party. He's a youngster. He's 65. Anyway, his birthday party yesterday, I told him, youngster, but remember, I'm the oldest. He was having a little birthday party. And while we were there, a gentleman that he used to work with, my wife knew, went to school with that family. We got the word that he was dead. His son had shot him while they were in Tennessee, stopped at the rest stop, got into an argument, pulled out a pistol, and shot his father. Boom. I live in a Columbia where folk are shooting one another over $20 bags of marijuana. See, y'all ain't gonna come with me. I'm living in a place where people are arguing over who has on red and who has on blue, or who comes from what project and who comes from another one. Pettiness is killing us. So the magnanimous person is a person who rises above being petty. Secondly, it's a willingness to face danger. I was talking to one of the alleged social justice warriors in this town. You know, everybody who wears that badge is really not about it. Can I get a witness? And Gretchen, the person told me, I said, you know, there's cats like Melvin Stapleton, there's cats in this town who are walking the street talking to folk in violent neighborhoods saying, you know what, we need to put these weapons down. We need to do something else. There's a better way in which for us to live together. Lord have mercy. They're going to Douglas Park. They're going out to Bear Creek. They're going to other places saying, brethren, look at me. There's a way in which we can settle this differently than what we're doing. And the woman said, that's silly. I said, why is that silly, baby? I'm from Detroit. I talk like that. Why? She said, because they have weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot be magnanimous if you're not willing to face danger. And I come over here to the UU church to tell you particularly, see, it's easy to be a UU when we're right here. Can I get some help? When you live on Shepherd Boulevard or in this neighborhood, but sometimes you've got to be willing to stand against the danger itself. You gotta be willing to put your own life on the line and say that live or die, the truth shall stand on its own. You've got to be willing to face the danger. You see, because I understand that because I've been shot at. Yeah, me. I've been shot at. I've had a bomb thrown at my house. I've been lied on. Old folks say I've been cheated. I had to worry about lynching. You all ain't gonna come with me. Somebody feel me up in here. We have to be willing to face danger. Amen. And listen, it's not always physical. It's danger of reputation, because you know folk know how to sabotage your reputation. And it's about generosity. And I know I preach it to the choir because I'm a witness that you all are a very, very, very generous congregation. Y'all have blessed me, blessed Dawson Jr. ministry in ways that I couldn't even imagine. So y'all don't mind if I take a moment to say thank you, do you? So David, let me tell you what has happened because of you. So I am engaged in a project on colorism and Christianity because it's in parts, Pac. I'm doing colorism and Protestant Christianity right now because I happen to know something about that. Y'all gonna help me? And it's one of those things, my brother, where black folk, white folk, brown folk, yellow folk, on and on can't blame each other because all of them practice it too. So y'all, you gotta help me. So in the black church, colorism happened by little things like a paper bag test. You couldn't get into church if you weren't lighter than the paper bag. I wish I had a witness. And in the white church, what they did, they just made everything that was bad and evil and despicable black, and everything that's good and right and holy white. Lord, I wish I had some shouting folk up in here right now. And so it affected both of them in the Protestant church. Violet, next time I write this project or do another one, it's gonna be colorism and the Roman Catholic Church. I hope I get to stay in Columbia. Yeah. For instance, I asked a practicing Roman Catholic, I'm about finished. I asked a practicing Roman Catholic, I said, did you know that Father Talton was black? And they said, what? Or did you know that the first 3 popes of the Roman Church were black? What? St. Martin de Porres is black. Lord, I wish I had some help. Oh, did you also know that Jesus was black? No, now. I asked a woman, the conversation very short. She said, well, I know he looked Middle Eastern. I said, really? I said, so he's the same complexion as me. Because there was a guy from Jordan standing right by. I said, he's the same complexion as me. Why do you say he looks Middle Eastern and I look black? And we're the same complexion. And the woman said, well, I gotta go. I said, I know you do, baby. I like what you're doing. It makes me feel like Dawson Jr. Ministry. Reverend will tell you that in Dawson Jr. Ministry during the preaching time, Jim West will play softly behind me. And when I get loud, he gets loud. I think Violet's kind of feeling me over there, don't you? Yeah. How do we get there? How do we get there? Man, I'm sorry, but my time is almost up. But how do we get there? We need a good moral teacher. We need a good moral teacher. We need a good moral. We were talking a little earlier before church. Who becomes the moral teachers? Because we live in a world in which I cannot trust everybody with my children. Used to be automatically that the teacher was the moral leader, or the pastor of the church was a moral teacher, or the priest was a moral, or the Boy Scout or Girl Scout leader. Who becomes the moral teachers for us? Not just for us, but for our children. Because without a moral teacher, you can never know the virtues. What are they, Dawson? You can never know that its friendliness is more important than being off to yourself. You would never know that courage is the mean between two extremes. It's the middle between foolhardiness and cowardice. You would never know that patience is a virtue. You would never know unless you have a good moral teacher. And one of the things we've noticed about our children is that they don't respect themselves. I'll see, it got quiet, didn't it? Or the teacher, or you. I was walking through Douglas Park one time, man, and this kid, he's about 13, was walking across me, and he said to me, and he stepped on my foot. And I said, hey, man, you stepped on my foot. And he goes, well, then get out of my way, big old nigga. We need some moral teachers. And then we need a good moral practice, Steve. And it starts, Aristotle's real clear. It starts with an act, a simple act like, thank you. I love you. Isn't it amazing how hard it is to say the simplest stuff? I love you. I forgive you. It starts with an act, and then it becomes a habit. And the next thing you know, you're loving without even thinking about it. You're befriending without even thinking about it. You are acting magnanimously without even contemplating it. It becomes a habit. And then the next thing you know, it becomes part of your character. See, one of the problems I have with the U.S. Senate is because I'm finding very few people with some character. And then Aristotle ends it by calling it a rete. I gotta go, it's coffee hour. And y'all look like you're looking for a donut. And if I was in the Baptist church, I'd say, look like you got a ham in the oven, but you know. So let me end it like this. That, see, I was watching the World Cup championship, soccer championship. And at that time, before the pandemic, I heard a group of people in the stand with a chant. And Gretchen, the chant was, I believe. I believe that we will win. Ladies and gentlemen, I come by, this old country boy come by simply to say that if we practice magnanimity, we will win. I see, because I'm old enough now, I understand that what we fight against is not just against flesh and blood, but it's against powers and principalities. It's about systems of oppression. It's about systems that pit us one against another. It's about systems that cause the rift between us. I believe that we can win, because it's not just about changing laws. You all know this. We've changed laws, but it's about changing the human heart. That if we could change laws, we'll save thousands. But if we change the human heart, we can save millions. I believe that the universe does bend toward truth. And I believe that faith can move mountains. I believe today that with a little bit of hope, that we are able to do incredible things. One of the things I've learned, man, is that I quit praying, asking God, because y'all know I'm a theist. I quit praying, asking God to work stuff out for me. Good God Almighty, I feel like preaching. I don't ask God to solve the problems. I don't ask God to stop the war in the Ukraine. I don't ask God to stop the violence in Colombia, in Chicago, in Buffalo, in Texas, in California. Could I get a witness somewhere in here? Instead now, what I ask God is, teach me how to be an instrument of peace. Teach me how to be in your service. Teach me how I can love one another. I don't need you to fix it. I need you to teach me how to do this rightly. Because I learned from Moses, the power is in our hands. I believe that we will win. Because I grew up with a song that said, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome one day. And not just one day, but maybe even 2 days. Because deep in my heart, Sister Bush, I do believe that we, every person, everybody who wants to be, who is part of the beloved community, we shall overcome someday. Let it be so.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.